Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Good evening, boys and girls, scholars and laymen. Welcome to another wonderful, infotaining, edutaining edition of The Art of His Thinks, Stop Provocateur. I'm your host for this empowerment segment, Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2, The Art of This. And it's been a long time. I should not left you without some dope info to step to. Step. All right. Yeah, it's been a busy news cycle over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Busy bee. Make all that honey, baby. But I just want to weigh in on a couple of things. This will be the segment where we talk about Jeffrey Epstein, the billionaire millionaire. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if y'all been catching it, but the media is really tripping. They call the man a billionaire, Jeffrey Epstein, the financial guru who was found apparently dead of a alleged suicide in his jail cell. Well, they rushed him to the hospital and they pronounced him dead Saturday morning. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I do not know, because the media went from calling this man a billionaire and then they downgraded him to a millionaire. And matter of fact, if you look at some news articles, like the Daily Mail article that talks about him allegedly being targeted in prison, an inside source allegedly said that Jeffrey Epstein feared for his life because he was being targeted for a kill. He didn't suicide himself. That's what they're saying. That he felt like his life was in danger, and he's dead supposedly. But if you catch these news stories lately, the articles, or even the news segment, the TV news segment, they will take liberty with the term a billionaire and millionaire when they describe Epstein. First, he was a multi-billionaire. Then they'll call him a multi-millionaire. And then they'll say it all in the same news article and news segment. There's a difference between a millionaire and a billionaire. There's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. Chris Rock wrote it down in his brilliant stand-up routine some years ago. There are a difference between being rich and being wealthy. There is a difference between being a millionaire and a billionaire. So which is it? So how can I trust you when you said this man died of apparent suicide when you don't know what to call him in terms of his financial, socioeconomic status? How can I trust it? And then this attack that, okay, he suicided himself, but how can we know for sure that he's dead? We don't see the body. It's like with Bin Laden. They say they killed Bin Laden 2011. Yeah, I remember when that Indian prime minister, when she said that Bin Laden died back in 2001, thinking from a kidney ailment because he's on dialysis, right? This is the guy who supposedly masterminded September 11th. He was on dialysis in the cave. And she said that he died in 2001. Then next thing you know, several years later, they assassinated her publicly like they did Kennedy. They assassinated her in the public like they did Kennedy in Dallas. After she said in an interview, you can go find this interview if they didn't scrub the internet. Then she was the Indian prime minister. She said that Bin Laden died, I believe, in December 2001 from natural causes, quote unquote. But anyway, I'm just trying to put this on y'all mind because I see people putting stuff out there, on social media, YouTube, and them doing a good job of trying to scrub the internet, make sure that nobody talks about the, conspiracies. You can't find, like, you try to, I do a search on YouTube about people talking about Jeffrey Epstein. You get the traditional mainstream media announcements and stories. You don't really get these so-called spin or so-called like critical thinkers, or I think some of the best critical thinkers right now are the conspiracists. Because as soon as I heard about this story of Jeffrey Epstein allegedly offing himself, I'm thinking about, what will Baba Dick Gregory say? So I had to put on my magic glasses. What will Baba Dick Gregory say? Dick Gregory will be thriving right now. May he rest in the powers of the ancestors, of the righteous ancestors, because this is so much BS going on right now. For example, with this case of Jeffrey Epstein, if when I put my magic glasses on, this is what I see. I see Jeffrey Epstein was a double agent for the Mossad and U.S. British intelligence. I look at U.S. and British intelligence one and the same. They're one and the same. They all in the same game. Think about what happened in Iran back in the 50s. It was a U.S. And British intelligence, MI6, that planned the overthrow of the democratically elected Iranian government. Yes, Iran had a democracy back in the 50s, and it was overthrown by the U.S. and British intelligence for British Petroleum, BP. You know, y'all get y'all pump it up, oil or gas for your car. BP, that BP, right? Because Iran wanted to nationalize uh, their oil, and BP, Anglo Enterprise, wasn't having it, yo. So they overthrew the government. And I believe it was Teddy Roosevelt's grandson who was the mastermind in terms of putting the strategy behind overthrowing Iranian government. He died not too long ago. He died within the last, I believe, 20 years, maybe less than that, you know. But take a look. It's all online. I just want y'all also, when I say stuff, research it. Because what y'all do, see, it's people that I respect, that I revere. Sometimes they misspeak. Sometimes they be misinformed, or they say some stuff that might not always be true or factual. Not because they're doing it on purpose, but because they're human. You know, you're a human being. Sometimes you're gonna misspeak. Sometimes you think you know something, then you might got something wrong. You know, so it's a. I really want y'all to encourage you all. Don't follow the cult of the talking head. I mean, I'm a talking head. Anybody with a platform with talking head, but I'm just putting stuff out there. I'm a thought provocateur. I pride myself on being a person who provokes people to think. Go out there and research the information. It's called Operation Ajax. That was the operation that overthrew the Iranian government when they tried to nationalize their oil. See, they do the same stuff even to this day. You look at Venezuela, what they did to Hugo Chavez. You best believe they killed that man. Cause y'all remember when the Bush Jr. They kidnapped Hugo Chavez. They did a coup d'etat down in Venezuela, and he survived it. Y'all can look that up too. It's so much stuff, man. So much dirt. But with Jeffrey Epstein, I really believe he was a double agent, working for British intelligence as well as the Mossad, that's Israelis' intelligence organization. He was put in place to blackmail or to get powerful blackmail intel on powerful, wealthy, and affluent people. That was his job. He was like the man who knew too much. He got a lot of information on powerful people. He was real close with people like Bill Clinton and President Trump. You know, Bill Clinton used his jets to go fly around the world. Like he even used it for that famous trip after he was president. When he went to Africa with Chris Tucker and Kevin Spacey. You know, talking about some House of Cards stuff right there. Also, Trump hanged around him and said some good things about him about over 15, maybe about 18 years ago, saying that he, paraphrasing Trump, he was on the record. He said, he liked, women on the young side, even, yeah, he liked beautiful women on the young side. So this is interesting. This guy knew everybody. I mean, he knew all the rich and famous insiders, the powerful people, the elites. He, palled around with royalty. Prince Andrew allegedly was associated with this guy. Allegedly had some fun on what y'all call a pedophile island. This little island that he allegedly owned. Epstein owned. Was a getaway. I mean, Alan Dershowitz, the famous lawyer. Dream Team, O.J. Simpson lawyer, trial lawyer. So many people. But I really believe that he was used as a double agent to get blackmail info on the rich, powerful, and famous. Because y'all gotta remember, you can't be rich and powerful in this world without them having skeletons in your. Hold on, they gotta have some dirt and skeletons on you in order for you to have power. That's the way they keep you in line. Bill Clinton has a lot of dirt on him. That's how he's able to be kept in line. Because hey, if you try to get some ideas about want to liberate people, want to really tell people the truth, want to empower the people, They could do more than just put a bullet in your head in the middle of the day in a public space. There's other ways to kill people. You kill their character, you kill their credibility. It's character assassination, more so than physical assassination. So when they do the physical, if they do decide to do the physical assassination, you already had a bad, dirty, messed up name that can get away with it. Oh, well, he was this and that. And nobody cares about proof no more. Everybody, once you accuse somebody of something in this echo chamber called social media, this social media lynch mob, they don't care about the truth. They don't care about evidence. They don't care about credibility. So you lose your credibility. Even though it might take you, what they say, I think Warren Buffett said something like, it takes you 20 years to build a reputation, only 5 seconds or 20 seconds to destroy it. Something like that. But anyway, yeah, I believe that they faked his death, that he's not dead. He's probably somewhere either in witness protection or living somewhere under a assumed name and new identity. Because they don't have to prove anything to the public. They can just tell us on news. The same news organization say, well, he's a billionaire or a millionaire. They can't tell you what he is exactly. So that same news organization that y'all trust, who called a man one type of billionaire and they call him a millionaire, and they're doing the same segment, they'll say, well, he's dead. The Daily Mail showed this plastic garbage bag looking thing saying, oh, his body's supposed to be in there, coming out the hospital, going to the coroners, whatever you want to call it. But they don't have to prove nothing to us. They never showed us the body of bin Laden. When Obama and them with Navy SEAL 6 or whatever allegedly killed killed Osama. They showed us the picture of Obama with Hillary. She can barely watch the screen. Them looking like Obama just missing popcorn, like he was into it, like he was watching a movie. And this is a movie. Your life is a movie, but they never proved to us that they actually killed Osama bin Laden. Back was that 2011? They showed that movie with Dark 030. They talked about how we got Osama was that we were torturing people. When matter of fact, Osama was one of our assets. Note that the people that we go after in the United States are not necessarily our so-called enemies, but our assets. Saddam Hussein was an asset. Omar Gaddafi, Osama bin Laden, even Noriega. Yeah, the Noriega, the Rick Ross talk about. But the real Noriega, pineapple face, he was friends with the Bushes. I still remember that raid they did around Christmas time on his compound down in Nicaragua. I believe it was in Nicaragua. But Noriega was in jail, federal penitentiary for years. And he was friends with the Bushes, with George Bush Sr. in particular, who also had connections with Barry Seal, the guy who ran drugs for the CIA from South America up into Mena, Arkansas. The American Made movie was a fantasy, was a farce, because Barry Seal was CIA since he was late teens. He was, he was flying airplanes since he was a teenager. He was on the Louisiana Silver Air Patrol that was ran by David Ferry. That's the guy that Joe Pesci played with the weird eyebrows and wig in the JFK movie. That was his boss. So they say he was flying, stuff for Uncle Sam, Louisiana, Texas to Cuba. That Barry Seal was allegedly one that people they used to get the killers out of Dallas when Kennedy got killed. He was allegedly the one that flew him out of Dallas, some of the killers. So you can look all this up. So, but in the movie, Tom Cruise plays Barry Seal, who was a big fat dude. I guess he had his, on the inside he looked like Tom Cruise. So anyway, Barry Seal allegedly was like one of the youngest TWA flight captains in history. He was 24 years old. So in the movie, they just approached Tom Cruise while he was a TWA flight captain, when in actuality Barry Seal was always a CIA asset. And then he's killed in so-called witness protection down in Louisiana, but he had a direct line to the vice president office. This is George H.W. Bush Sr., who was vice president under Reagan, but also who was a former CIA director since back in the 80s. All right. So not to get off subject, but with Jeffrey Epstein, I believe he was a double agent or a spy. And he did what he's supposed to do. So they faked his death as payment for services rendered, and they gave him a new identity and a new life, spending some of that money. So now the criminal investigation is over with. So, but you still file civil lawsuits. So basically what they're going to do, They're gonna use his estate, his so-called estate, and they're gonna pay off some of the so-called victims. I don't know if they're victims. Look at the movie Wag the Dog that came out over 20 something years ago. This is around the time of the Clinton stuff going on. Wag the Dog, starring Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro. They hired Dustin Hoffman, this big time Hollywood producer in the movie, to create a fake war to keep the people distracted from the so-called sex scandal, I believe, with the president of the United States. And Robert De Niro, he was the fixer for the White House. This is before the Scandal TV show, right? So this movie, Wag the Dog, came out in the late 90s. It's worth watching. It's a powerful movie because it show you what they really do. They orchestrate things to keep people distracted. It's like the media plays a big part in it. Go back to William Randolph Hearst with the yellow journalism. Yellow journalism, where he actually fabricated United States entry into the so-called Spanish-American War. Now, years later, they claimed the USS Maine, that was an inside job, meaning that the explosion happened because of whatever error or whatever, but it was not due to the Spanish. It's like they were trying to see the Spanish back in no time like the Russians are today. Everybody want to blame the Russians for everything, so we was blaming the Spanish for everything over 100 some years ago. So, but all that was this a false flag type of situation. So with the Epstein thing, is to me, it should be raising red flags because we don't know if the man is really dead. We don't even know if the man spent any time in jail because they got body doubles, right? A lot of world leaders have body doubles. They said Hitler had body doubles. I mean, Stalin, so you don't know what is what. Even when Hitler, people assumed that he died in that bunk back in April 45, but a lot of people say he went to Antarctica or even South America and lived out his days as an old man. Because people gotta understand that Germany lost World War II, but the Nazis did not lose. Germany lost World War II, but the Nazis did not lose. Look up Operation Paperclip. They went into the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency. They went into the space program. They went into a big pharma. The Nazis survived to this day. That's why, you look at America, it's a death machine. Like Dr. King figured it out. He said the greatest purveyor of violence on the planet is my own government. There is no violent country like America. America is very violent. They talk about Chicago. America is Chicago. America has been a death machine from the start. It's a blood sacrifice machine, okay? So, I mean, it is what it is, but y'all should look deeper to the Epstein thing. I won't lose no sleep over it because you can't prove it either way that he's alive or dead, but it's funny to me that y'all readily believe a media that can't make up his mind if he's a millionaire or a billionaire. So that should be questioned, That's weird to me. It's strange. And also, I saw this New York Times article recently. When you talk about Nazis, you think about eugenics, right? Think about Planned Parenthood even. They said a story allegedly that Jeffrey Epstein wanted to have some type of sex farm or sex ranch in New Mexico to impregnate 20 young girls with his sperm, with his DNA. Not necessarily that he sleep with the girls, but they somehow impregnate them with his DNA, with his sperm, in order to improve the human gene pool. Now, this allegedly was a story, that article in the New York Times that came out recently. In the last several weeks, you could kind of Google this up. And, he was having dinner with world-renowned, award-winning scientists like Stephen Hawking, meeting with people at Harvard and places like that, like maybe the MITs, scientists from different organizations. He was a finance guy, so he wanted to support these guys and women with money for their research and projects. But also he was interested in allegedly having a sex ranch, or not necessarily, a pregnant ranch, I guess, where he wanted to impregnate 20 young women with his seed. I think it was in New Mexico he proposed this to be. So I don't know how true it is because now he's not around to defend himself. So I'll be careful I will not make Epstein a boogeyman because evidently there's a big thing. I'm going to put it like this. It's like a lot of people love pizza. I'm going to leave it at that. A lot of people love pizza. And that these guys as individuals could not get away with this stuff unless they had institutional support and cover. You think about the Vatican, while sex abuse cases over the centuries, not just over the last several years, but yet they're still strong. They're still a billion members strong. And you still got people sending their kids to the Vatican, to the church, under these people, under the clergy and other people. So you got a billion membership, a billion members or followers. They know about all these sex crimes, yet they still sending their kids to be led by these people. So I mean, it's an insane world, right? You think about what about Harvey Weinstein? What about him? The thing about Harvey Weinstein is that, see, the thing about that, the Hollywood always been like that. Hollywood was always like that. With that rape, sex culture thing, that guy, the casting couch, he did not invent the casting couch. It's like Donald Trump did not invent mass shootings. People want to blame Donald Trump for all this stuff going on. But I'm going to cover that in another segment. But the casting couch always been a part of Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Blood sacrifices. Look at the early days of Hollywood. All these, people dying, drug overdoses, and sex scandals and murder mysteries. That's always been a part of the culture. Well, Harvey Weinstein, I think with the women, they consented to being with Harvey Weinstein. And they regretted it later on. That's a difference. You consent because you want this movie role, you want this movie to be greenlit, you want a career. You knew the game and you consented to it. You come to see him not at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at his offices in Hollywood, but you see him at 2 o'clock in the morning at a hotel. Talking about you want to go over some contract negotiations and stuff. Okay. Well, you play the game. I remember a friend of mine, a colleague, she wanted to get in Hollywood, be a director of some sort. She had connections. She had family connections. Her family were all connected in media and entertainment. But she said she had to leave Hollywood or Hollywood because every time she tried to get ahead, people just want to sleep with you. You try to, go in, show them your resume. She did work on music videos. She had credentials, photography for major media outlets. Yeah, all they want to do is say, I want to sleep with you. We could maybe do something. You let me sleep with you. And she said, the hell with that. She went back east, got her doctorate, and now she's a professor at a renowned institution teaching media. So she made a choice. She could have stayed out there and have been used up, hung out, washed up by now. But she decided, I'm going to make a choice for myself. I got a thing called integrity, self-respect, dignity, a moral compass. And she went back home because she come from a strong foundation. So what I'm saying is a lot of people made these choices. These starlets start off, now they're not used up. They can't sleep at night. They're on all types of drugs. Probably had a lot of abortions because it's funny how a lot of these stars, not funny in a hard way, but a lot of these stars struggle in having children later in life because a lot of times they destroyed their body through these abortions and drugs and stuff like that they do. There's a self-destructive form of self-medicating. So, I mean, it is what it is, but this Epstein dude knew too many people. And he's going to bring down the whole damn house of cards. Just like an episode of House of Cards. They suicided him, quote unquote. It's like the DC madam who allegedly killed herself May 1st, 2008. And she went on Alex Jones' show on different outlets saying that if they say I suicided myself, that means somebody killed me. Or I've been suicided. They say I killed myself, that means somebody killed me. I'm not going to kill myself. Next thing you know, she's found guilty, facing like I think 6 years in prison for running an escort service. But she really was guilty of entrapping powerful men in the Washington establishment. I even heard names like Dick Cheney thrown around in her escort scandal. And she actually went to the so-called mainstream media, the ABC, gave them all the names, gave over her black book to ABC. And ABC promised that they'll run these people, expose these people. And at the last minute, they didn't do it. Even though she had the phone numbers, the dates and all this stuff, the names, even their social security number, right? These folks work in the Pentagon, in the White House, all over the place, powerful men. And they left her out to dry. Like she thought they were going to do the right thing because we've been told that if we tell the truth, then everything will be all right with the world. It's BS. You tell the truth, you get yourself, put a target on yourself, get killed. They call you whistleblowing. Nobody loves a whistleblower. Nobody loves a snitch unless the snitch or whistleblower is working for their benefit. Once again, nobody loves a whistleblower. Nobody loves a snitch unless the whistleblower or snitch is working for their benefit, for their interest, for their leverage. So she did her job to expose these people. And, she ended up paying a price for it. They found her dead on her parents' property down in Florida. And nobody raised any suspicion. They just say it's a suicide and everybody just go along about their business. It's like with Sandra Bland. It was a suicide. And everybody just, why would she kill herself over some type of weird traffic infraction? Just a weekend staying in jail. And like she was going to federal prison. Why would she kill herself over that? She didn't kill herself. They killed her. She was probably already dead when she took the dang mugshot. But yeah, where's the accountability? People, I don't know what it is about us, not just as so-called black people, but also as a people. We just love to be lied to. Long as the lie is pretty, we could deal with it, but we can't deal with ugly truth. We could deal with pretty lies, but can't deal with ugly truth. So they suicided the DC madam. That was over 11 years ago, right? So a lot of people been dying and suicided since that time. So even before then, let's go back to August of 95. Let's go back to Sunday, August 6th, 1995. They found the Baton Rouge madam, Sylvia Landry, dead in her cell. She basically was hanging from her cell, hanging from a so-called handmade noose out of bed sheets. She tied the bed sheet noose to the water sprinkler on her ceiling in her cell, allegedly, and she hanged herself. She was 39 years old. She was the madam of Baton Rouge. She ran a very successful escort service in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That's the home of Huey Long. That's the Kingfish, right? One of our amazing polarizing politicians who was assassinated at the state capitol allegedly by Dr. Carl Weiss back in 35, and that's suspect. But anyway, she ran an escort service that, and her clientele including some of the most powerful people in Louisiana, all the way to allegedly the governor's house or the governor's mansion. So with that said, after running her escort service for 2 years, she even, the madam was a hard worker, man. Sylvia Landry was a hard worker, right? I think she was her own bottom bitch, because she really was an earner herself. She got in there with her employees. Like, she didn't let them do all the fun and bring in all the money or the bacon. She actually got, down and dirty with it as well. But, she got on the radar of the IRS, I believe, and the federal government. And the IRS are ruthless. They even came for Joe Lewis, like Nas said. And Joe Lewis gave $1 million to the government and box for free. And they still came after Joe Lewis. But anyway, she was found guilty, facing 6 years in prison. She tried to escape early August on a Wednesday. In early August of 95, she escaped from prison for 3 days, right? She hid in the swamps, mosquito bites, poison out, just down in Texas. Then on that Sunday down in Texas, they found her dead, August the 6th, 95. And it's funny, it's hard to find any really information on the Baton Rouge madam, because they alleged she had a black book of her clientele, and she could have been a whistleblower. She could have brought a lot of people down with her, but the only person that was a victim was her. She was the only person went to jail. None of her so-called prostitutes, nobody on her client list, on her black book, fought or faced any charge. It was just her. She was like, she went down for the count by herself. And she allegedly killed herself, because I saw an article from the AP from back then. They interviewed her father. She was one of 10 children. And her father claimed, or at least he said, that his daughter said, this will be the last time you hear from her, or something like that. And then you'll find out why. Some stuff like that. I don't know what to believe. I don't trust the media. This same media said that Jeffrey Epstein was a billionaire, then he's a millionaire, then maybe he's a thousandaire now. I don't know what they're going to call him. But yeah, it's hard to find the information. The only reason I know about this case because years ago I was a big fan of A&E's TV show called City Confidential. That was a powerful show to me. This is before social media and stuff. This is like Paul Winfield, the late great Paul Winfield was the narrator. He had a great voice for that. I remember Paul Winfield. He played Dr. King for a made-for-TV movie, but also he was on 227, one of my favorite TV shows growing up. So I remember him from that. So yeah, it was on City Confidential. I don't think you can find that episode online anywhere. But they talked about the Baton Rouge madam, Sylvia Landry. Gave her at least an hour. But it's sad. But you go on the internet, and the internet supposed to be able to find anything. You can hardly find any information on her. Can't even find a picture of her. No video. So if you hear about Sylvia Landry, you in We All Be Nation, Brother Ron does his homework. Okay? So I'm about to close this out, but I just want y'all to think about some things. Don't believe everything you see, read, or hear. No, it's deeper than that. You look at the fact that he allegedly had this guy, Jeffrey Epstein, had dirt on everybody. He knew everybody. Anybody you could think of, he probably got, it's like the 6 degrees of separation. He knew somebody that knew somebody, right? He knew a lot of different people. He moved a lot of different circles. Wall Street, Hollywood, Main Street. Think about Oprah, Spielberg, Chris Tucker, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Dershowitz, law, finance, sciences, Stephen Hawking, MIT, Harvard University. He knew everybody. So who benefits from the removal of the king? Like this is very much a Shakespearean thing. Who benefits from the removal of the king? Who benefits from the removal of Jeffrey Epstein? Because like I said, the criminal stuff dies with him. The criminal case dies, but the civil, you still file civil lawsuits against his estate. And to me, somebody be doing wellness checks on R. Kelly because he might be next. It might be getting R. Kelly. He'll be the ultimate blood sacrifice for what? Because he knows a lot of people. Because he was involved in the same circles as a Epstein. 6 degrees of separation, right? So R. Kelly basically saying we're gonna just put you in jail for life, and people that's okay with that. It's sad that people don't have any compassion for anybody when it comes to stuff like that. 'Cause I don't know R. Kelly personally. I don't know all the story. Some of the stuff just ain't right with me. I guess I'm just a contrarian by nature, but some of that stuff don't sit right with me where people could just destroy people's reputations while due process. It's all about the public opinion. Really, people are very, very ignorant. I ain't say stupid, I say ignorant. Ignorant means you just don't know a lot. A lot of people don't know how stuff really works. That's why they're able to get over on a lot of us because we don't know how stuff really works. And then we accept anything because they look, people say things with authoritative voice and they look a certain way. We just accept they're telling us the truth. But people fall in love with the pretty lie, but they hate the ugly truth. And the ugly truth might just save your life. But yeah, they need to do a wellness check on R. Kelly between now and the end of this month. Aretha Franklin died on August 16th. They might do R. Kelly like that, because that's a powerful date, August 16th. So about August 16th, we get like Robert Johnson, the blues singer, Babe Ruth, Aretha Franklin. Who's next? And some other folks. I brought that up, and that's power of media, bringing stuff up like that because nobody was really thinking like that. I put it out there, but I don't have the numbers, and I don't get a lot of hits like a lot of big people do. But it's funny because it's not about being popular; it's about being influential. For me, I'm very influential. It amazes me. Like a week ago on Sunday, I went to a Kroger's and I was walking through the front entrance and people said, Brother Ron. Brother Ron. I said, no, the dude was with his wife. It's another kid I didn't even know. He was from San Diego. I'm in Memphis. They knew who I was. They said, we follow your show, da da da. I just don't know, you don't know who you're reaching out to when you do this type of stuff. I know people have started things like podcasts based on what they saw or hearing me do the things over the years. And everybody have a voice. You should amplify your voice. And you should invest in yourself. But people don't understand, man, it's a price you pay. People say, keep up the good work, brother, run, all this stuff. And look, I got to pay these bills some type of way. People could easily find me on the internet. They can look at my thoughts and views and the people I had on my platform. And people will hate on you. People will try to obstruct you from things that you should, be able to access. And it comes with the territory. But if y'all keep on want to hear, my perspective of things and help me bring some more guests on this platform, you need to support this platform. You could do you buy some artwork, r2c2h2.com, buy some t-shirts at our Teespring site. We got the shelf underneath this video to show you some of our wares. We'll be adding more. You could cash app your support at R2C2H2. Our cash app is $R2C2H2. You can PayPal or Google Pay your support, email r2c2h2 at gmail.com. And think about this. Jeffrey Epstein was kind of like a upgraded version of Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner died at the right time. You see how he ain't really touching his legacy. But yeah, Bill Cosby and a lot of these people that are in trouble with this Me Too stuff and Time's Up, they are connected to Hugh Hefner and Playboy Mansion. So think about all this stuff, man, because what's the difference between Jeffrey Epstein and Hugh Hefner? I don't know all the stuff that Hugh Hefner was into. I just heard things. I wasn't there. Baba Dick Gregory was a good friend of Hugh Hefner. I mean, he gave him his break in showbiz, and I don't owe no debt to no Hugh Hefner. I know Baba Dick, he spoke highly of Hugh, and they actually died within weeks of each other. Not that, maybe a month apart. They both passed away. But life is complicated. There's some good people that make bad choices all the time. And like I said, you should do your own research into this stuff because we just talking head. I be hearing people that I respect sometimes, they get their information so wrong. They get facts wrong. They be saying, well, so this happened so and so day, or this person was alleged part of this. No, it's not true. They might have good intent, but they get it wrong. They're human. It's called human error. So y'all need to do even a written word. You can't believe everything, like I said, you see or read or hear. What I want people to do is develop enough cognitive dissonance. You got to develop enough cognitive dissonance to say, you know what? These contradictions just keep on clashing against each other. So now I got to come to a conclusion and think for myself. So this is where we need to go. We need to start thinking for ourselves because an informed populace is an empowered populace. An informed populace is an empowered populace. So thank y'all for listening once again. Support We All Be because knowledge is the currency of the universe. Until next time, I'm Brother Ron. In the words of Great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing. Peace.